second to begin. Okay, we're live.
Good, thank you. I'll appreciate everyone being here. I'll call this meeting to order, and would someone call a roll, please?
Sure, thank you. Wayne Clark.
Yes.
Amanda Nowak.
Here.
Brian Frank.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Rossi Menka.
Here.
Kathleen Dagenhart.
Here.
Eric Torkelson.
Here.
David Rashka.
Here.
The mayor is going to be joining us shortly. So we have 7 plan commissioners present.
We're a quorum.
And we are a quorum.
Yes, thank you. And next item will be approval of the minutes of the February 24th meeting.
Move to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a
Motion to
second?
approve. Sorry.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Those in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We'll take on the next item, which is 2A, special use permit for Wingstop. And Steve, who's going to handle that?
Tony's got the planning commission. It's going to be the Tony show this evening. So he's going to start off with the items 2A and B. Stop.
Fine. Tony, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Steve. So this first item is Wingstop, located at 10244 West National Avenue. It's in a multi-tenant commercial building anchored by Piggly Wiggly. Wingstop is a proposed restaurant business within the existing building, and the building is within the C4 Regional Commercial District. Restaurant is considered a special use in the C4 district, and they'll be having a public hearing in a couple weeks on Wednesday, April 7th. Wingstop, as many of you may know, they're a quick service restaurant offering chicken wings with various dips and delicious sides. They have 80% carryout, and this is during non-COVID times. They expect to have 80% carryout and 20% dine-in. They also expect to have up to 5 employees during their peak times. And the total project cost estimate for them to build out their space is $150,000. Their hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to midnight. Their floor plan is for a fairly standard Wingstop. They have roughly 70% of the space dedicated to food prep and storage and 30% to dining. They're going to have a couple tables, so just 8 seats total.
So by definition, Tony, it's really a carry-out operation?
More than anything, yes. They don't have any proposed exterior changes to the building, but they do expect to update the signage. As for their site and landscape plan, as you all know, we take a look at the entire site whenever we review a special use. So we have been working with the owner of the property, David Israel, who is on the call, and trying to come up with a phased out approach to making improvements to this property. So they proposed phase 1, which would be completed by this summer. And that includes 2 benches on either side of the Piggly Wiggly entrance and 2 bike racks. So one of them at the Piggly Wiggly entrance and another one on the eastern side of the property by the other tenant spaces. Phase 2, however, we are still talking about what the time span will be for that. When is the completion date? They have proposed 5 years to come up with the funds from this property to be able to afford these next improvements here. However, Alderman Haas and Alderwoman Runke are proposing a 2-year time limit. So they are proposing a pedestrian ramp and landing from West National Avenue. So you'll see that there in orange. That will allow for people to just walk off from the street instead of having to use the steps. They can use a ramp that is at a lesser grade, and there will also be a landing built there. It makes it easy to get onto to reach all these other businesses. They're also proposing a landscaped median, which will really help alleviate traffic issues there. There's a lot of fast moving cars that enter and exit right at this entrance. So that will hopefully help with that. And they're also proposing 2 landscaped end caps at the bottom of these 2 parking rows. And then finally, they are proposing to move the handicap stall further north to be to lessen the distance that people would have to cross from the stall to the sidewalk, and also including a crosswalk and curb ramp from the handicap stall. Staff recommends approval subject to a shorter timeline for the phase 2 update. And we had the handicap stall moved north, but we've actually been working with them. I met with the architect on Monday, and we went out with one of our building inspectors as well to just talk it over and find out what's the best solution for where the handicap stall and crosswalk should go. And they've been really great to work with and navigating that. We would also like to see an estimated cost of the paving, landscaping, and screening, a surety bond, and of course, the Common Council approval of the special use.
The site landscaping and architectural plans, that it would be paid for by the owner of the property, the entire entity.
That's correct.
So they're the ones that are asking for 5 years.
That's right.
The traffic pattern from that parking lot across to, start with Piggly Wiggly, across to the Wrap and Ship, across to the hair salon is just terrible. And they've already acknowledged that. I don't know why we would give them any time other than get it done. It's just waiting for an accident to happen. I'm in that area regularly. Traffic moves quickly, as you reported, and there's quite a gap between where the cars park and where the sidewalk is. Shouldn't we be focused on the safety issue? Somebody?
Yeah, Commissioner Clark, this is Eric Torkelson. Yeah,
Hi,
I
Eric.
agree. I agree with your comments, Wayne. I guess what I'd like to hear from like the applicant, if they're on this call, is kind of the rationale for the 5-year plan. Because I agree with Commissioner Clark here. I think we should 2 years or at least kind of get that median going ASAP. So if the applicant's on the call, I guess I would be interested in entertaining what the rationale for the 5-year plan is for phase 2.
That's what was proposed to us by the city when they originally approached us. We're willing to agree to what the 2 Alder people have proposed, but as Tony suggested or mentioned in his comments, this isn't going to be expensive, and to my knowledge, there's never been an accident there. So these aren't inexpensive improvements, and it's going to take time. We weren't expecting this or planning this. It only came up when Wingstop applied for their special use. So it's not like we have these funds reserved. So it's going to take some time to raise the funds.
Excuse me, you represent Wingstop, correct?
No, I represent the ownership of the shopping center.
Well, even if it's been accident-free to date, I don't think that's a good enough reason for not doing this sooner. As I said, wearing this phrase out, this just seems to me waiting for an accident to happen. Not your business. Wingstop is going to create more traffic, pedestrian traffic than ever. That parking lot gets filled up from that end because of the various commercial operations there that stretch all the way to Piggly Wiggly. They don't, and the hair salon, as I mentioned. I think that we need a shorter time limit.
As I said, we'd be willing to agree to the time limit that was proposed to us by the two other people, which is, I believe, 2 years, sometime in 2023.
Is any other comments from
Can
anyone?
is there something that we can do at least in the median part of it? That is pretty much wide open there, and sometimes 3-4 cars wide I've seen. Can we put something in there to slow that traffic down a little bit, or speed bumps around that area to keep the traffic slower? That would be at least a temporary fix. Wouldn't be very expensive, but then we can make the traffic slower.
Good idea, Brian. I agree.
And that's something you could probably implement, pretty much right away. And then we would finish it off with a 2-year plan.
I'm sorry, someone else had something to say. I missed. They got interrupted, I believe.
I said,
Nobody?
great idea, Wayne and Brian. I think it's a great idea. Speed bumps too.
So you would, I'm sorry, I don't have your name. As a property owner representative, you would work with the plan department to create ways to slow the traffic, and you would do that now. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, that's what I believe you and
That's
some
what-
of the other commissioners may have just suggested. What I would propose in the alternative is we break this into 3 phases, and we do phase 1 of the benches and the bike rack, in the next couple months, the summer. We can focus on the island adjacent to National Avenue and do that within 1 year. And then the remainder is done within 2 years as the Alder people proposed. I mean, again, when the Tony and Steve first came to us, they had proposed to us a 5-year plan. So we weren't expecting any of these improvements to be imposed upon us, pursuant to this lease, which honestly is a relatively small lease for us, which we view this as disproportionate, but nonetheless, here we are.
I understand. I mean, I do not want to create an issue for Wingstop not being present. I think that would be a positive. But I think the first priority has to be slow the traffic, whatever that means. And then the other things you talked about over the next 2 years. But I believe priority 1 should be slow the traffic, because as was mentioned, at that point, right outside from a restaurant and the Rappin Ship Place and the hair salon, that's like a 4-lane highway, and there's nothing that slows traffic. People fly through there. I've had enough experience over many, many years with that. And so I'd like to see you move up the traffic management issue and put that first.
This is also, my name is Diane Israel. I'm also the owner. And can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I have no idea what's involved or the cost of putting in a speed ramp. And, and how it will affect the other improvements that we're going to make. I'm willing to investigate that. But then if we do the speed ramps first, that will address your issues of slowing the traffic down. And if we do that and we put in the bike racks and the benches, then I would agree with my son that you give us another 2 years in order to finish the project. This, as you well know, this shopping center has had a number of vacancies. We've been dealing with the vacancies and trying to get that rented out. And so, and as my son mentioned earlier, we do not have any money in the reserve. So we were going to be putting money aside in order to do these improvements, which are not inexpensive. They're expensive improvements. And so while we agree with you to do the improvements, we would like not to, because of the problems we've had with renting the shopping center, we would like to at least have the time in order to space out the improvements so that we can budget our money as well. So if we were to put in the speed bumps, would you have any problem with then spacing out the time that we get this done?
I'm sorry, my reaction is that speed bumps or whatever else that should be, I would look for the plan department to work with you and figure out what that should be, along with engineering that's going to slow and manage that traffic.
Well,
From my
I'm willing
perspective,
to work with them.
from my perspective, that's first, and the rest can be spread out over the 2 years that you've discussed.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'm willing to work with them and see, the best way. And also I'd like to work with the gentleman who's been our architect to see how it will affect future improvements, or can this be a lasting improvement where we don't have to remove the speed bumps in order to do the other improvements that the city is requiring.
Other commissioners, any further comments?
No, a lot of the speed bumps that you can get, I think you can have temporary ones, and just temporary, and then, yeah, I have the 2 years left to complete out the rest of the project. I think that's a workable idea. And yeah, get with the planning commission, or get with the planner and engineer and see how we can slow some of that down. I think that would satisfy everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Tony or Steve, would you just briefly capture what we're saying and make sure we have a clear understanding of what we're voting on?
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is phase 1 would include the median and speed humps. And that would be completed this summer. And phase 2 would include benches, bike racks, and the additional landscaping, and the ramp and handicap stall, and that would be completed within 2 years.
Does that capture what we're talking about, folks?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
And
One question, I guess, I'm just wondering if, from the building code perspective, we may have to have the ADA accessibility built in right away, along with the occupancy of the restaurant.
Right.
So that may be something that we have to do. We may have no choice to, I don't think we can put that part of it off. So I think the ADA accessibility has to happen with the restaurant coming into play.
This is Brian Decker with Perspective Design. Can you guys all hear me?
yes, Brian, thank you.
Hi. Sorry about that. I had a problem with my mute function here. Let me make a couple comments here, if I could. First, in regard to the speed bumps, there are some temporary bolt-down style speed bumps that could be installed for the interim period, I believe, until we get the median between the entrance and the exit drive aisles constructed in 2 years. So I think we can work with you on that part of it. And the speed bumps, I'd suggest to have them a little bit further on down the line so it serves as a visual cue for vehicles entering as well. And that people that drive in aren't immediately hitting a speed bump. You know, I don't think that may cause an accident in having that, but I think moving them down a little bit further would probably be beneficial. As far as the ADA, the accessibility, we are in excess of what we're required as far as ADA spots on this site, and we do have accessible spots that can be used in the interim period. The one that we are going to move, that one does require quite a bit of construction work, as we need to take some curbs out, add some sidewalks, and add an ADA ramp. So the ADA ramp from the sidewalk, I don't know if that necessarily needs to be done in the interim period, since we have the accessible parking stalls right now.
So you'll work with the Plan Commission on that, correct?
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion regarding this item 2A?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And Tony or Steve or somebody write this up carefully so we captured what we just talked about. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Good luck to the Wingstop people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is pardon me, maybe we already covered that. 2B was part of the first one, correct?
Correct. Yeah, they were
All
taken
right.
together.
2A and 2B taken together. Thank you. 3A, special use permit for Wrestling Taco. Who's got that?
I got
Thanks.
that one.
Yep. Wait, Tony's going to present this one as well. Nicole, I think DeBax may be on the line with us here, representing the new restaurant.
So we're taking 3A and B, Tony?
Thank you, Wayne.
Yes, sir.
So Wrestling Taco, applying for their special use permit and SLA. They're located at 1606 South 84th Street. They are a proposed restaurant business within an existing multi-tenant commercial building. Sounds familiar. So this is within the C2 neighborhood district. Restaurants are considered a special use in C2. Please note that this is the previous space of Wisconsin Pizza Authority. You may recall us approving a special use permit for them a couple years ago, and their special use permit actually lapsed, so that they've been out of business for over a year, which is why Wrestling Taco has to apply for their special use permit. Their public hearing is also scheduled for Wednesday, April 7th. So they are a Mexican style restaurant with a bar. They'll be serving up appetizers, tacos, and burritos primarily. They just had their liquor license approved, I think, a week ago. Their business is roughly 80% dine-in and 20% carry-out, and they expect to hire 6 to 7 employees.
They should go into the logo design business. That's great.
I actually just pulled this one off the internet.
Oh, okay.
It was fitting, so. Their total project cost estimate is $5,000. Their hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 11 to 11, Saturday, 8 to 1 a.m., and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Their floor plan, well, since it was built out by Wisconsin Pizza Authority, isn't changing too much, but they will be removing a few interior walls as well as a service counter that used to be there to help open the space up, and they'll be adding a bar to the middle of the space. They have 68 seats made up of 8 booths, 7 tables, and 8 bar seats. And they have a separate party room that you'll see in the upper left. They are also not proposing very many exterior changes except for signage. In terms of their site and landscape plan, one was just like from the Wisconsin Pizza Authority that was approved a couple years ago. So they aren't proposing to make any changes. They have 76 parking stalls required and 118 are provided. So they are well overparked. However, staff is asking to remove some wheel stops that are dislodged from their current location right outside of the proposed restaurant, as well as the removal of an RV that is located at the southeast corner of the lot. So here are the wheel stops. One of them is dragged out to this corner of the lot. We think it was probably a snowplow over the winter that had it dislodged and dragged over there. So we're asking for them to put those back in place. And then the RV is located at this spot. That's what it looks like. So we're asking Nicole to track down the owner of that RV and have it moved as a condition of approval. So staff recommends approval subject to the repair of the dislodged wheel stops and the removal of the RV.
Thank you, Tony. Any discussion? May I have a motion,
No.
please? I'm sorry.
Motion. No, I was going to say, can't wait till I get in. Motion to approve.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There is a second. Any discussion? There being none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. 3A and 3B pass, so thank you. And I notice that the mayor has joined us. Thank you for being with us. You want to take over?
I don't know. I don't want to break your momentum, Wayne. You seem to be doing pretty well. But,
All right, well,
I'll take over.
I'll
see,
wrap it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I see Nicole is with us. I don't know if she wants to say anything real quick or if she's
Hi,
just
Nicole.
content.
I'm just thankful that this is going smoothly.
All right.
Good.
All right. We're looking forward to it.
Great. Yeah. And I love that logo you made for us, Tony. That was hilarious.
You're welcome to use it. It's free clip art. So
Why don't you turn that into a tall statue about 20 feet high? That would be so dominant.
Right out on 84th Street.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, congratulations on the next step, Nicole. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And then we'll move on to item 4, site and landscaping architectural plans for Wisconsin Vision. And I will turn it over to staff.
thank you, Mayor. So Wisconsin Vision is a proposed business to be located at 2262 South 108th Street. Their business, they sell eyeglasses, and they want to set up within an existing commercial building, which is in the C4 Regional Commercial District. This is the former site of 1 Hour Martinizing Cleaners. Their operations, they provide eye exams and sell eyeglasses and contact lenses. They expect to have 3 employees, and their hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, 9 to 3, and they're closed on Sundays. Their building, they expect to have 2,200 square feet. Sorry, that was a typo. And their tenant space is 1,200 square feet. They are proposing a new wall to divide the spaces. They will also be removing the drive-through that the cleaners had, as well as replacing the storefront entrance. On their site and landscaping plan, they are proposing to close the driveway on Highway 100 and landscape it. We've reached out to WisDOT, Wisconsin DOT, and they are all on board with this. They love that they will be closing the driveway and having there be less potential for traffic related crashes. And it's more pedestrian friendly, of course. They are also proposing to landscape, add new landscaping. This particular area right here, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but they are going to be, they used to have parking there and they're actually adding landscaping. They've been really great to work with on that. And they're also proposing to remove the non-conforming 1 hour marginalizing sign, which we will all miss. It's actually one of the cooler signs in the city, but has to go. And they will be adding a enclosed refuse enclosure, though staff is proposing making it one of the conditions to either add a second one or enlarge the current one for the other tenant space. They are required to have 11 parking stalls, and they are providing 14. In terms of their architectural plan, they're proposing 2 different colors of a thin brick veneer. However, staff is asking for the existing brick behind this, the lighter colored, the light brown brick to remain, and just change the brick, add the veneer over the proposed new storefront space. So they want to have a contrasting color. However, we want some of the existing brick to show. And they are also proposing to add a new gray shingle roof. With that, Jeff has been really great to work with. He's the architect on this project. Staff recommends approval subject to the alternate architectural elevation, maintaining the existing brick and changing the corner architectural element to a contrasting brick, and either enlarging or adding a second refuse enclosure, and an indication that a professional arborist will be hired to prune the existing trees per our forester, as well as an estimated cost of paving, landscaping, and screening, and a surety bond. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Any questions from the commission?
I'd move approval.
Second.
Second.
There's a motion by Wayne and a second by Brian.
Eric?
Oh, Eric, I thought Brian beat you by a half a second.
That's fine. That's fine.
You can give Eric. Give it
No.
to Eric.
All right, we're gonna give it to Eric.
Oh, that's okay.
All right.
All right. If there's no other discussion on the motion, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Item 4 is approved. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys can see me. I'm going to be the future owner of the property. I own Wisconsin Vision. I don't know, Jeff, if you want to step in a little too on this. I was just, like the trash enclosure. I mean, we probably have like maybe two, three little bags a day, and the other tenant's going to be 1,200 square feet. I mean, to put a big one back there, I mean, we can get more pickups if we need. I mean, the one there it's not small. I mean, I don't know. It's just, to me, to add another one, to me, they're not the most, they're just architecturally, they're not the nicest looking things anyway. But I mean, we're going to redo it and make it look nice, but I just wondering if you really need to make this thing bigger for what?
Would staff be comfortable with trying it with as is and just seeing in a year if they need an additional refuse container?
I think so. Our thoughts behind that were we don't know who's going to be the tenant over there. Maybe they do produce a lot of trash, and so we were just being cautious and by adding some more dumpster space. But
Is it I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize.
Go ahead.
I mean, is it big enough right now? Is it a big dumpster back there? Or is it just like trash cans? I mean, what do they have back there?
Yeah, they have one, I believe, one large dumpster, enough for just a regular sized dumpster that you would see behind any business.
Oh, okay. And it's Wisconsin. Okay.
And I mean, if we need,
a problem with
I mean, we can get more pickups. It's no problem. I mean,
yeah, no, I don't see a problem. We can find out, but if of course it starts overflowing and stuff like that, then of course we'll ask. I'm assuming.
I'm seeing comments from staff in the chat too, that at this point it looks like they would be okay with going as is and then making the change if needed down the road. So I don't know if we need to formally amend your motion, Wayne and Eric?
And I got one other question on the brick.
Okay, we won't make any amendments yet.
The thin brick we were going to put on to update the building a little bit. I guess I want to know your thoughts on why. I mean, keeping the brick that's there. It's just it's kind of an outdated brick. I don't know. I just thought it would definitely enhance the building with a better look. And obviously we're spending more money to do that. And just to leave the regular brick, I'm not sure when this was built, but it's definitely an older look. I think the new brick will just make it look, just come out way better. But I just want to know your thoughts, how you came up with that. And you didn't like
Sure. So originally, I believe that the proposal was to paint the brick, which is something that we try to avoid in our guidelines. Then Jeff came back with the proposal to put in the thin brick. But another guideline that we have is that we generally like four-sided architecture, and we thought it would be a little bit too cumbersome to propose wrapping the entire building with the thin brick. And so we're proposing to just have the one contrasting brick on the corner feature. We thought that would be the best move.
All right. Yeah, it'll save me money, but the whole thing is, there's no brick around the whole building now. It's only two sides basically. So if I change the brick, why would you have to change the other two sides? I guess I'm just trying to understand those thoughts.
I guess in that case, we see it as a change where you're going over the original design of the two sides, right? And then, I guess we'd be pushing for a four-sided architecture at that point, and maybe with the lesser change with keeping the existing composition of the building as originally designed, with the existing brick, but then just changing the brick on the corner element. I think we could.
No, it's fine. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Did you guys take a look at the monument sign that we proposed or not? Or that's not done by you guys?
I haven't had a chance to see that yet. Looking forward to it though.
Is that done by planning commission, or is that's just something?
We review it internally.
We don't have to go to another meeting like this, do we, or
no?
No.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Okay, so on the motion by Wayne and then seconded by Eric regarding the second refuse enclosure, can I ask them to just make amendments to their motion and then we'll vote on it?
And how would you like that amended, Mr. Mayor?
Just saying under recommendations 1B, keeping one refuse enclosure for now and revisiting if needed, depending on the second tenant, but in a much more efficient way than I just said it.
Well, the way you just said it, I'm amending the motion.
Okay.
All right.
Well, just if we were to just say including a four-sided refuse enclosure on the site, and then down the road if something else is needed, we'll work with you guys at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we're really excited about moving down the road. Right now we're on Highway 100 in Greenfield. We've been there forever.
Yeah.
And it's nice to get our own space now. We're really excited about it.
Just as a matter
We will be your optical store there in West Dallas.
Does the second have to also amend?
Yep.
Eric, you want to second that?
Yes, I'll second the amended motion here.
Motion. Perfect. Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, the ayes have, the motion carries. Item 4 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Welcome.
we'll move to item 5.
Tony's got. Yep. Thank you, Mayor. Tony Guron, our planner, is going to present that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you, Mayor. So this last item is for America's Best. Their sign appeal. They're located at 6822 West Greenfield Avenue. So they applied for 2 signs that exceeded the allowable limit back in January, and that sign plan was denied because the maximum square footage allowed is 45 square feet, and they were over that. However, they sent in a revised sign plan, and that one was approved for one 40 square foot sign on the east facade, which is the location of their entrance, their only entrance to the public. Their variance that they're seeking is for a proposed second sign, which is 72.5 square feet on the northern facade of the building. That exceeds our sign allowance by 67.5 square feet, and the applicant is seeking variance in reaction to the denial of the sign application. So let's see. I want to see if I can, would you guys mind if I read their reasoning for the sign variance?
It's fine with me.
Go ahead.
This tenant space has 2 visible facades that warrant signage to properly identify this space to the vehicular traffic seeking to locate this destination. The sign in question is intended to be a wayfinding device that will assist the motoring public in locating their desired destination in a safe and controlled manner. Without a sign on this elevation, motorists that are arriving to the center from the South 70th Street frontage or the West Washington Street frontage would have no idea where the America's Best contacts and eyeglasses is located within this shopping center. This lack of available information is what leads to motorists focusing less on their primary responsibility of control of their vehicle and more time scanning the environment, seeking the information that they need to locate their desired destination. This breakdown in the driver's focus is what often leads to frustrated drivers, erratic driving decisions, and traffic accidents.
Thank you.
So you'll see that they're referencing vehicles that are coming in off of this private drive in between these 2 future development sites, developers Cobalt, and coming down from the south. We'll give you some on-the-ground views in just a couple slides here. So on the left, you'll see their existing sign that was approved in January, and this is the proposed sign on their northern elevation on the right. This is the view going south towards their building, and there's no sign there. And then here's the view heading east from where the tunnel used to be under the building that was demolished last year. So variance considerations, we have 3 different considerations when we review a sign variance. Will not result in undue concentration of signage. Staff believes that there's no undue concentration of signage here since each sign is on a different elevation. Unique and of exceptional design or style. We don't think that the sign is necessarily unique or exceptional. They're using standard channel letters, which we encourage, but it's not necessarily unique. Site difficulties, not visible from roadway or adjacent to site frontage. Their existing sign is visible from within the town center, but the private drive north is not considered the roadway adjacent to site frontage, and there's no entrance or parking along the north elevation, which is why staff recommends denial of this signage plan appeal.
Does that conclude it, Tony?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I move denial.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Is there any opportunity to discuss the application further?
Yeah, in a minute.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm assuming that was Charlie.
Yeah.
Is it Shelley-ol? I'm sorry.
Very good. Shelley-ol, very good, yes.
Shelley-ol. Well, that was lucky. If there's no other discussion from the commission, then yeah, if you want to say a few words, feel free.
Thank you, first off, for allowing us to come before you this evening. The need for the second sign is for the motorists that are coming off of South 70th Street, and then also motorists coming down from the West Washington Street along that interior drive. The sign that we're asking for is going to have zero offsite impact. So therefore, anybody traveling outside of the center is not going to see that sign. We're merely looking for the opportunity, since this is a corner unit, to have a sign on the side of the building so that motorists, as they're traveling in, will know that this is the America's Best, be able then to enter into the massive parking field that services the entire center. If you're familiar with our tenant space, we are tucked back in the very northwestern corner of the property. The front wall sign is the biggest that we could get on that elevation, because that is obviously the most important. But that side elevation is, it's not equally as important, but it is also important due to that arriving offsite traffic. It's a commercial center, and people expect to see commercial businesses with commercial signage. It's not out of the norm for the area. There's other businesses in that center that have multiple facade signs and layouts on different elevations. Again, the sign is going to have zero impact any residentially zoned property or any motorists traveling outside of the center. It's merely a convenience for those searching for this business that have come in other than the West Greenfield Avenue entrance. We appreciate the opportunity to have the discussion. It's a business that we're hoping will be in a tenant space that has been vacant for a while, and can be there for years. But again, identification is key, and reinforcing the retail nature of this center is only a positive for the community.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on the motion?
This is
Okay.
With
Oh,
the,
I'm sorry.
with the commissioners in favor of a smaller signage, maybe a 20 or 30 square foot signage as a variance, or?
Didn't we already deny also another tenant in the space, secondary signage above and beyond what they had asked for?
Sure.
So we're staying consistent, I think.
Okay.
I just want to verify, Tony.
I guess on that note, and I'm not disagreeing with staff, but I'm just curious if there would be a way to utilize that wall with something that would be more unique or more creative. It would probably cost a little bit more, but it may get the effect you were looking for. I don't know if that's something that protrudes off the wall or what kind of logo or anything that America's Best has that may be applicable here, but that's just the thought that popped into my head.
Mayor, if I may,
yeah.
Steve and I were actually considering proposing a mural to the property owner. It wouldn't be branded as America's Best, but could be just something to attract people, to let people know that there's a shopping center right around the corner.
Okay.
It was actually something the ownership of the RPT, the ownership of the town center, had indicated that someday they may want to consider that type of idea, with potentially with the Alice Yards development going on to the north, the hotel, the Hilton Home to Suites, and other development across the street at the 1205 building, the Gauge, and so on. That a mural may be a nice wayfinding feature of sorts into the center, to more or less, not only add something artistic, but to sort of again just reinforce that it's a retail establishment.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the motion to deny, please say aye.
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 And anybody opposed? Okay, chair votes aye. Ayes have it. The motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That wraps up our items before us this evening.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Wayne.
A couple of things, if I may.
Yep.
What are the determinants whether a meeting is virtual or in person? 2 weeks ago, I attended an in-person CDA meeting, and tomorrow, along with you, I'll be attending an in-person dangerous dog meeting at City Hall. I prefer in-person because of the interaction as opposed to virtual. The good thing about virtual is you don't have to drive to and from City Hall, but the base question is what determines whether we're virtual or in person?
Well, with the council, we took a poll of the members of the council. So maybe before the next meeting, we could take a poll of our plan commissioners and see what they're thinking. I do think if we do go back in person, it would still be important to probably try to use the council chambers where we could space out more easily and possibly limit our audience to just dealing with whatever agenda item we're on and allowing those people in, and maybe have some other people wait in some type of a lobby area. But if staff is open to that, we could, take a little poll of everybody prior to the April meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And one other item. One of the issues we've dealt with for 15, 20 years, it's been forever it seems, is that take the first item tonight, the permit for Wingstop, where we agree to spacing out events, things that people are obligating themselves to. And we have had really no ability to track that. We just stumble over stuff and say, why wasn't that taken care of 5 years ago? But in the sidebar with Steve, I understand that Aaron has created a spreadsheet and a way of tracking, which sounds, I think, right on target for what we need. And as I mentioned to Aaron, to Steve, I would hope that we would have a chance to have a presentation at one of our plan commission meetings to see and hear about this tool.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually pretty simple. It's we're going to a new platform, My Government Online, which may offer some help to this end in just being not only tracking, but just on the application side too, as applications come in, doing a better job of tracking the incoming work and the process through the various city departments towards permit. And on the back end, what we have right now is basically a calendar where once we meet, basically the next day or two, we take our the minutes from the planning commission. We generate letters, communications to our applicants, indicating here are the conditions of approval. And then those dates, the deadline dates, are entered into a calendar, an Outlook, where they're sort of recalled. And we have it's not actually the deadline's indicated in the calendar event, but it's actually kind of like a 6 month and then a year sort of reminder that, hey, this was due 2 years from the date of the March 2021 Planning Commission, or a year, or whatever the time horizon was. So there are some measures we have in place right now, and then with new staff in the planning and zoning department, we hope to start doing a better job of it, and we can provide a little overview report of how we're doing things currently and how we hope to improve in the future.
Well, this isn't on tonight's agenda, Mr. Mayor, but I would like Steve to bring this to us and show us what's going on so we understand this tracking system.
We can have that on a future meeting. I think that makes sense.
I just had a comment. If I could just piggyback onto Commissioner Clark.
Go ahead.
Comments. Steve, like in West Dallas, do you guys work off like workflows at all? Because I think that would probably be like the ultimate way to how you could track where a project is, I guess, like in the value stream. And you said you're going to like a new platform at some point in the future. And does this new platform, I guess, have a workflow feature to it? Because I think that's where you could probably be able to track where everything is in the value stream.
Yeah, much more so. Right. So right now we're using it's called BP Logics.
Okay.
And that was a self-made program by one of our, former IT directors, in collaboration with the software company. But so what this MGO, or My Government Online, is going to be much more of a virtual city hall. So not only to help organize staff's job and the inflow, like you're saying, that the flow of processes through, but they're all the processes are in a sense mapped out, and then when someone applies, depending on what the application is, it gets routed to certain departments and key personnel that are included in that review. So there's accountability along the way, and in terms of the flow of things. And then it's also going to be intended to be transparent as well, so that the applicants themselves can check in and see exactly where they're at in the process as well. So there's kind of that dual purpose side of it.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
And Erin's been a big part of helping, get us up to speed with this new thing, and working with MGO directly. So she could probably elaborate even further.
Sure. So it's a platform that's going to be used for our licenses, our special use processes, sign permits, along with the eventually code enforcement as well. So we can track things easily through the system from day one. It'll also be used for business occupancy. We can send reminders to both inspectors, planners, and engineering, whoever we'd like, through the system, along with the applicants themselves. So if we need more items, we can simply send them an email asking them to log into their account and upload that information into there, whether it's plans or more information, or even make a payment. So this will speed things up, not only in the process just for special use, but for any other appeal or any licensing, and they'll all be in one group. So you won't have 4 different areas. They have one account that they can go into, and they can look at the status of each of their items and when they're going to be put on which agendas. So it'll be extremely helpful. It'll make my job easier in the end as well for compliance on these items. And especially with zoning moving back over to building inspection for several years and now back with planning, it's easier that all of our stuff is kind of on one side of the house versus split between two. It's just easier to communicate those things. And Tony and Steve, since there are only planners right now, along with myself, they can pass those items on to me, or they can follow up and say, hey, I've got this done. They close out the project in our system and give it to Gail or Barb for upload to our system. So
Erin, if I could, I don't want to go too deep into this just because it's not
Sure.
on our agenda tonight.
Yeah.
So we can definitely circle back next month.
Yep, and we can show you, I can prepare something along with Steve and Tony to show you next month.
Sure.
Thank you.
Just one comment, if I may, just real quick, Mayor Devine.
Yep.
Would it be possible, like Steve, like at a future plan commission, that we could just see like a high level value stream, like end to end, of like how this whole process works? And the reason that I bring that up is I know, like, early on when I was on plan commission, that was like, I was kind of confused. I was like, all right, we approve an item on the agenda, but then what are the next steps that come after it? And actually also what all happens before, the item on this agenda comes before plan commission.
Sure.
So I think like a value stream would be like a good idea.
How does it all start, and how does it get to you guys, right? Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. What happens before,
and
during,
then what? Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Good point.
All right. Well, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. All right. If there's nothing else, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay,
Thank
we are
you.